Hey everybody, what's up and welcome to today's live stream. I'm so excited. This is the first live stream of 2024. I can't believe I haven't done a live stream here for almost half a year. This is crazy, but I'm very excited for what we have for you today. So, if you haven't noticed, after 4 years of having the same website for Flux Academy, we have finally launched our new website. I'm very, very excited about this. We've been working on it for so long, for 9 months. So many people have been working on it. We've spent so much money on it, and I think it's really, really cool. To celebrate this, we also have a promotion. We're celebrating with a 30% discount on all Flux Academy courses. And part of how we run this very complex, actually, promotion management, changing the prices through the whole website, adding all of these badges. I'm going to show you how we've created all of this. This is the most complex Webflow build I've ever done with the team. And so there's a lot to cover and unpack here. Tons of amazing student work that I'm super, super proud of on this new website. So congratulations to all the amazing Flux Academy students. And we're going to talk about a lot of things. There has been a brand update here, so we're going to cover branding. There is a very complex web design with tons of asset creation. We're going to talk about the whole, redesign. And then, of course, we're going to talk about the Webflow build and everything that went into it. So to get started, let me just shout out for a few of the people here right where you are in the chat. Hello from South Africa, from the Netherlands. What's up? What's up from Madrid? What's up from Mexico City? What's up from Italy? Hey, everybody. Good to have all of you. Good to see all of you here. Let's get started. Hello from Portugal. Hello from Belgium. Hello from Croatia, from Turkey, Romania, Brazil, Vietnam, UK. Amazing. Oh my God, it's so good to hang out from people from all around the world, even from Meabite, I see here. Crazy. Awesome to spend time with you today. Let's get started. Let me show you what I have for you today. All right, so it's going to be an advanced website deep dive case study of everything that went on for the past 9 months. As I've mentioned, what we're going to cover today, I saw somebody writing in the chat how long this would be. My honest answer is I don't know. However long it needs to be for me to show you everything that went on. I've never done this presentation before. We'll see maybe if I'll have power for Q&A at the end. So let's go. First of all, we're going to cover the strategy, why we did this redesign, what's the context. I'm going to show you the previous versions of the Flux website and tell you the story of how this website became more and more and more complex and bigger over the years. I'm going to talk about all the prep work that we needed to do before getting into the nitty-gritty design. I'm going to cover the full design process and how we used Figma to create it. So we're going to spend a lot of time on that. And then we're going to talk about the Webflow build, including how we set up the style guide, how we are using components, some of the mistakes we did using components, how we're using the CMS very, very creatively, I think, in this website, and what custom code we're using in this website. Okay, so first of all, before I even get started, I should give credits to everybody who worked on this. There's been a lot of people, as you can see. First of all, Lee was the lead designer of this project and obviously created an amazing, amazing visual direction here. Francesco was the lead developer, did the heavy lifting on the Webflow and very, very creative coding and working around Webflow to create everything that Burak from our marketing team had in mind in order to make this website work faster, convert more, and make it easier for us to operate it. Then we had a lot of people helping out with the design. There were so many assets to create for this website. So Fungi, Leo, Ethan helped, and Matteo, who is Francesco's brother, also helped us with uploading the assets, applying the copy on the website. So there's been a lot of people working. Part of managing this project, I was basically the project manager, you can say art director, had the vision, but also did a lot of touching design, Webflow things myself. But you got to give it to the team who did a lot of work over the last few months. Okay, with that, let's talk about why do a redesign, okay? And to do that, let me actually give you the history. Let me show you the previous ugly versions of our website so you can see where we're coming from and what were the actual problems along the way. Because at the end of the day, and we always say this in my videos, in our courses, we do web design not just to make it prettier, but also we're trying to solve problems here. So let me show you the how actually, yeah, how it can to be, like what is the historical context. So to begin with, back in 2018, this is the first website. I know, and now you're saying, oh my God, what is this ugly thing? Well, this ugly thing is the first Webflow Masterclass homepage that I created in, I think, 4 hours or something like this. It was created actually live. Maybe there's a video of me actually designing and building this website in like 4 hours. And, back when I created the Webflow Masterclass, I didn't know that I'm going to do this full time. I didn't know that we're going to have Flux Academy. So this is actually just, as you can see, there's not even a logo here. There's no navigation here. This is a single page on a website on a domain that used to be webflowmasterclass.com. No other courses, no other pages. Very, very simple. So this was in 2018, and I think around 2019, two things happened. Number one, I wanted to do more courses, and there was no brand here, right? So, and some of you might know that my YouTube channel originally was called Flux, not even Flux Academy. So that was a time when I needed to actually create a brand for a school, change the channel's name, and buy the domain Flux Academy, and then move everything to Flux Academy. Also, by the way, I got an email from Webflow that says, you can't use Webflow in your domain name. That's against trademark, blah, blah, blah. You have to change your domain. So bought fluxacademy.com and also wanted to create some new courses, right? So the next version in 2019 was this website, which already looks much better. You can see the logo here of the Flux Academy. First established the purple color, I guess, for the Flux Academy brand. Here on the first website, there was a little bit of purple, but there was purple from the first website as well. So you know what? Purple was there from the beginning, I guess, before it was trendy. So this website was a little bit more robust. It's still, by the way, the navigation here is basically just taking this here. It's taking us here. And here we've got 3 courses. Basically, this is a flat hierarchy, meaning, if you go into the Webflow Masterclass page here, there's no navigation. I need to go back into the home page. And then, so this is the Webflow Masterclass page on this website. Again, I need to come back into this website. So again, there's no navigation, there's no hierarchy. This is actually a flat website. So this website was our website in 2019, obviously an improvement from the first website, but this website had a problem, had actually a few problems as well. Number one, we wanted to create a blog to have, SEO for SEO purposes. So we needed CMS. This website didn't even have a CMS in it. It's just, again, a homepage and 3 pages. Another thing that we had was, in a way, course branding. Here we just have like 3 names for the courses, and there's a bunch of images, and we differentiated them with color, but there's no actually like a system that can now allow us to create more courses, right? So those were the problems or things that we wanted to tackle this was in 2019. And so in 2020, we did a redesign that was supposed to solve all of these problems. So this is what you're seeing here. This is the 2020 redesign 4 years ago, which was also what we've been using up until a few days ago when we published the first website. So this website introduced a little bit of a different branding, still purple and pink, but a lot more focus on students and this 3D visual language that was created here, and of course had this blog. And originally, when we launched this had 3 courses, right? 3 courses, or 3 original courses that we had here. Now, this website, as I said, we've been with it for 4 years, so it did serve us for a lot of time, but we did made so many updates to it. So this is one of the first, versions in 2020. Now here's a snapshot of the same website that we just had up until, again, a week ago. You can see here that now it has this mega nav that includes 8 courses and our all access program. Here we already have this kind of like a branding system where each one of the courses has their own logo. We have a little bit more promotional things going on. So this website has been extended and extended and extended for about 4 years, that it became really, really, extended, which made it slow. It was a lot of people working on it during the time. Each page, there was no system. So this page, for example, looks like this for the Webflow Masterclass. Other courses, let's open up here, maybe this one. You can see it has a completely different structure. So we didn't have really a system for it. The other thing that we had with this brand, which we realized was a problem and why we needed to do some brand update, was that originally we had this very bold, wide text, which was, I guess, very trendy, and I like it. But what we realized is that when we want to have longer headlines like this one, this font becomes very unreadable. When you have a large chunks of text that is bold, uppercase, this is very difficult to read. So we knew that this is not working. By the way, one more thing that we had on this new website is we've added this free resources. So a whole new system of CMS that allows you to download all kinds of downloadables and resources and ebooks and stuff like that. So again, this website has been extended and extended and extended to the point where there wasn't, now, I personally hated this website. Not hated, but because I'm a designer and I get sick of designs rather fast. Like about 2 years ago, I was already sick of this 3D style that we have here. By the way, this 3D style was actually problematic, and we realized this after a while. So originally, when we did this 3D design, we had an amazing 3D designer working with us here at Flux. But then eventually he left, and now we didn't have 3D capabilities in-house, right? And so every time we wanted to create a new asset, we either had to only rely on stock 3D that we can buy, and then we needed to recolor, or we had to hire 3D designers just to create visuals. So it was actually kind of limiting. So as I've mentioned, there were a lot of many reasons, like relying on 3D designers, the website becoming slow because it's bloated from so many extensions that we did. The font is not good. We had so many small reasons for doing the redesign, but it was never something that was like, oh, we have to do it right now. It was always, yeah, we want to do a redesign, but it's not the right time. We better do something else. Like, is this really going to contribute to growth? Is this going to contribute to more sales? We don't know, right? So that's why it was delayed for about 4 years until finally we said, okay, we have to do a new redesign, because all of these, small problems, and that's when we said, okay, let's kick it off. So to sum up all of the problems that we wanted to solve with this new redesign, right? First of all, it was slow to update and to manage because, again, you needed the 3D designer. There was no easy system. There wasn't even like a proper style guide and a styling system embedded in this 4-year-old website. So every time we needed to come up with new styles, which just made it bloater. So again, very hard to manage. Every time, Burak wanted to create a new page for some, funnel or a marketing campaign, he had to redesign it from scratch, right? Because there was no system, template, or design system to work within. So it was very slow. It was also bloated, as I've mentioned, so we kind of load slowly, and we definitely know that slow loading websites hurt conversions. As I've mentioned, the big headings made it hard to read. We're not fitting long copy. So we wanted to, So those are basically the things that we wanted to solve. So the goals were to basically, this was the initial vision for the website. We want to build a component library so that the marketer or Burak or whoever wanted to build pages or make updates to the website, they can do it on their own. They don't necessarily need a designer for it, or they don't need a developer. They can just have this component library that they can play around with and build pages and make updates or A/B testing on their own, right? We wanted to clean up the page so that it's going to be leaner, it's going to be smaller, we're going to have faster loading, faster assets, faster loading animation, and we're going to have smarter management. So, I've just showed you the promo of how we manage, we're running a promotion, there's discount on our courses. If you think about this, previously we used to do this manually. So imagine we have 8 courses. Now I have to go and update in each courses the checkout link and change the text with the pricing and all of these things. It used to take like a whole day just to set up a campaign. And then when the promo is over, you need to revert back to the system that you had before. So it was a lot of manual management that we wanted to solve and automate on this new project. And lastly, as I've mentioned, we wanted a fresh look, something that is more in line with what designers are seeing and excited about today, and that does not rely on a 3D designer. It's going to be vector. It's going to be, in Figma. Every designer can be able to create assets for new pages on their own. Okay. This is basically a summary. This is the brief that actually, let me read this to you. This is the brief that we had when we kicked off the project. Our current website is old, it feels outdated, does not communicate our core strengths. We would like to update our brand while maintaining brand equity. So it still needs to be familiar as Flux, right? It can't look something completely different. So we wanted to keep the logo, we wanted to keep the purple, but we wanted to update the palette and typography and imagery. We also needed something that would work well on social media. And we wanted to show more of our people. So the instructor, the mentors, the community. So focus on people. And as I've mentioned, also important to keep in mind image creation going forward as we scale. And we were thinking we need a system that we can work within. Maybe we can use AI to create images. I don't know. And the general approach was to build components, right? So new pages and running experiments would not require new development. All right. So this was the brief. And with that, let's start diving into the Figma and into the actual process. Okay, so this is our Figma file. So let's start off with stuff that we did before going into the design itself. So research. The first thing that we did, because we wanted to take this component approach, is to research all of the different components that we need for, again, a website. In our case, it's a website that sells courses, right? So this is a research of, again, this is not research for design style, look and feel. This is just what kind of components do we need and get ideas for different layouts, okay? So you can see here we've got how do course hero pages look like, right? Sometimes there's a video and there's a heading, a big button. Sometimes there's the instructor and then you get bullet points, and then sometimes it's, there's a trailer. So you can see many ideas for how, especially course landing page and sales pages look like. So this is a huge research, right? So hero section, pricing tables, testimonials, student stories. So a lot of ideas for how these layouts would look like and what do we need, right? So it started off with doing this very big research, as you can see, and documentation, announcement bars like the one that we have right now. Hey, there's a promo. You need a call to action. Maybe you need a countdown timer that shows you when the promo is over. Who's the instructor? So these were basically all research of all of the components. Okay. So once we did that, and that was the research that Burak did, and then we decided, okay, let's pick, of course, if we try to develop tons of variation, like different types of hero, eventually you want to have like 3-4 types of hero sections and maybe A/B test and see which one performs better. But as a starting point, let's pick 1, 2, layouts for each one of these components and start working with them. So we had this. This is our project management file. We're working in Coda. This is very similar to Notion, if you're familiar with that. So here we basically have a full list of the components that we need, and basically documented with what page we're going to be using this component with, right? And this was the reason for having this list, is so that the designer knows, okay, we already designed the hero section, we already designed this. So it's kind of like a to-do list, right? Of all the components that need to be designed, right? And if there's any kind of like other notes about what should be included in this component. Okay, so this was research part one, and that, you know, is broken down into later into our designer to-do list, right? The second thing was kind of like mood board or inspiration. Now, this is my initial examples. Now, what I brought here is each one of them I wanted to show something else, right? So for example, and so I left notes with what I like in here, right? So here I like this dark mode with purple highlights. It's clean, it's grid based, right? Nice. What do I like here? This is light with purple highlights. It's clean, it's grid based. There's people imagery. Okay. What's here? Here, for example, I like the use of emojis to make it friendly, and then there's images of people, right? So I've basically said, here's what I like about this. This is really cool, and maybe it's a little bit too cool for us, but it's focused on people. So these are reference of, here the instructors are in the front. Great. So these are things that, you know, why I like each one of these things. So this was also, again, part of the research and collection of references and discussion internally about which direction we want to go with. With that, we set up to start off the design experimentation. And this happens with rounds, okay? So, you know, we make one round, we give feedback on it, we have a discussion, this is good, this is not good, and based on that, we have another round, okay? So, this is another collection of inspiration that Lee collected, and based on that, he wanted to start off by finding the right font. Okay, so these were some words, you know, that I gave him. I said, you know, I want the font to be friendly, clear, no bullshit. That's what I want the font to communicate. So he started to collect, you know, some fonts, come up with perhaps an extended color palette, and then just starting to try it out, right? So this is really, really random, right? He has here on the left the original design, and then he's just making, okay, so Ron told me to put people in the front, and let's try this new font, and maybe let's try these glass shapes and these kind of like Figma name tags going on here. Let's try this in light mode. Let's try this in dark mode. Just really, really random, right? Very, very quick designs. Let's see how this font looks like in a presentation, right? Or in a potential hero on the website. Not a lot of design, but just taking a template and throwing in the colors and throwing in the fonts to see if this works, right? So trying this here, he tried this on different assets, right? So this is our original certificate. What happens if we change to the new font, right? Here's maybe an ad. So here are ads with the new fonts. Now, where are we? Okay, my reaction to this first round was like the font is very similar to what we have right now, right? It's still very bold. It's still it's going to be hard to read. So we're not, I like the colors. I like these glass elements, but the font is still not really a departure from what we have, right? If you look at this and you look at this and you think, okay, it's a little less bold, but it's still the same vibe, kind of like very bold and in your face, right? Okay, so then he tried round two. He was like, okay, let's try these fonts. This is a little bit more, you know, it's not uppercase, it's not as extended. This looks a little bit more friendly. Let's try these. And yeah, this I thought this looks a little bit better, right? So this is a little bit too thin. This is a little bit too wide, but this is actually not bad. This Patika, I actually like this one. Um, so my problem with Patika, I'm thinking about what was my problem with Patika. Turns out this is just like a very, very random font that some designer created, like an individual. And my feeling was, you know what? I want, because a font, actually selecting a font for your brand is a very important decision. You need the font to work. You want to make sure that you're buying quality font, that the spacing is correct. You have glyphs for all of the letters. You want to make sure that you're buying something, something of good quality. And I wasn't sure that just because this guy is a random guy that I don't know and not like maybe an established studio or foundry, I felt like I'm not sure if I want to go with something as small. And so Lee came up with this font, which is called Helix, which I also thought was pretty good. It's geometric, and he did some tests here. I was like, yeah, this is kind of nice. This font is kind of nice. My problem with this was, so I think he tried. This is this font, and I was like, yeah, I can live with this font. But then what happened was I checked out their pricing. Now, when you're buying font, you need to look into the licensing, which is what are you using it for? You might use it for print, you might use it for web, you might use it for video. Now, not a lot of fonts actually have specific license for video, but this font turned out had a very specific license for video. And, the more basically views you had on your video, you needed to pay more. So this font for us, because we're getting millions of views on YouTube, was like $4,000 to buy this course, to buy this font, and we need to pay this every year or something a little bit ridiculous for us. And I tried to talk to them. I was trying to tell them, hey, I'm a famous design YouTuber. Give me this font for free or give me a discount. And they were like, no, okay. So I was like, okay, let's look for another font. And then we found this font on round 4, which is the font that we're actually using right now. This is called Brady. And this font I really like. I feel like it's friendly, it's readable. It's exactly what I wanted this to be. So I was happy with this font. And however, looking at this design, I kind of felt like, hey, you know what? We had something cool here with these glass elements that were going on here. Where was it? We had some nice, cool glass elements at the beginning here, like these cool elements. But here, it basically, there's not much left of them. They're just like a little bit of a decoration, and there's no concept here. And I'm not sure how this would work. So let's explore this. Let's explore how we can use these glass materials to actually tell a story. And then Lee basically came up with this idea of using these glass shapes to actually tell the stories of design or UI interfaces and stuff like that. And that I really like. So like, okay, you know what? Let's try to continue with this direction. I think we're pretty close. This is round 5. So where is the final round? Is this the final round? Okay. So once we kind of agreed on it, basically we wanted to experiment with it and see what can we do with it and how it can work in general for the brand, right? And so here now we have a big exploration of how the rest of the brand can look like outside of the website and what this brand update can be. And here also, Lee came up with the idea of badges. And he was like, you know what? I really like to collect badges. And what if we can have a badge for each one of the courses? That can be very cool. So we can create a badge for each one of the courses and people can collect them. And I thought this was really, really a great idea. So we decided to go with it. at some point, I don't know where, as you can see, there's so much exploration going on here. We decided not to go with a complete black background, but more with like a purplish background. And that's how we landed. Where have we landed? Guess here. No, not yet. New. Okay. So this was basically the last revision of this glass effect, that sometimes we can use this as icons, sometimes we can use this to show UI, and sometimes we create geometric elements to tell stories. So as you can see, it took many rounds of revisions. I have here documented at least 5, but to try to figure out what is in general the visual language. And the first challenge that we wanted to try and tackle was the badges for the courses, right? Because obviously you need them for the homepage, you need them for each course page, you need to have the course branding. So that was our first challenge. Okay, so basically what I told Lee is we need to have very easy differentiation between the courses, right? And just for reference, here's what we had up until then. So here you can see our courses page, where each course has kind of like, again, a visual, 3D visual, but they are very abstract. It's very difficult to know which course is this or what the course is about. And when you log into the course platform, basically what you have is this. You can say there is a logo, right, for each one of the courses, but when you zoom out or when you scroll very fast, all you see is purple circles on a purple background, right? So it's very easy. It's actually very hard to find the course that you're looking for. Now, if you know how perception works, basically people first recognize color and then they recognize shape, okay? And here they're all the same color and also the same shape, right? I know that you're saying, oh, the icon inside is different, but when you squint your eyes, all you see is the circle around the logo. So what I wanted is I wanted to have different colors and also different shapes. So we started off with trying different colors. And I said, okay, that's a good start, but it's still like circles on different colors, right? So we tried different variation, and then we came back to this badges concept. And at the beginning, we explore radically different badges. The problem with these badges is that they are very, very complex. So it takes a lot of time to see what you're seeing, and they're using a lot of colors, right? So it's difficult to say, oh, this is the pink icon and this is the blue icon. No, it's all of them have a lot of colors within them. So it's difficult to differentiate by color. And remember what I told you, you first recognize color, then you recognize shape. So we tried to minimize them, right? And we basically came up with this basic minimization. More exploration. Here we still have the same problem because they are all circles. They are all circles. Here there are different shapes, but it's very difficult to differentiate the color, right? So eventually we came up to this solution where, okay, they're all going to have one simple color, purple, the logos, but they're going to have different shapes. So you can see that you can very quickly see that this is orange plus circle. This is teal plus shield. This is lime plus this octagon. Not sure how you call this, but this is very easy to combine or to memorize, or at least it's easy for your brain to visually look for this color and this shape. So based on this, we created, again, another problem where this is all circles. But based on this, we created this system, which has different shape and different color for each one of the courses, which is a good solution. But to make this more, I guess, sales oriented, I also wanted to add a little bit of elements from each one of the courses onto this kind of like image here. So the end result here is this, which again, when you're scanning, you can see the system, right? And you know, if I need to create a new course now, I know the system for creating this. I need a specific shape for the logo with an icon inside, and then a color in the background and some UI elements that represent what we learn in the course. So this is basically the course branding system. Again, this is something that was super important to figure out because it's going to reappear on all of the pages and even outside of the website, right? On the course platform, on our certification. So everywhere, this was super important to figure out. Also, the branding for the all access program. So this is a course that has all courses inside. So it's got to look different. It's got to look bigger. So this was the first big challenge for us to figure out the course branding. And from there, we went on to start designing the course pages and all of the different pages in the website. Now, what we did for course pages is, as I've showed you previously, on the website that we had before, each course page was completely different and random. And here we basically systemized. Let me see if I have the original sketch for course pages. If this is archive. Don't know where I can find this here. Yeah, course structure template. Okay. So here we had the discussion about, here's what we need in a landing page, right? We need a hero. We need a qualifier, which is basically means, is this course right for you? We need a section heading. We need an image that basically shows the course. We need to show the benefits of the course. We'll need to show a curriculum, course overview. We need to show the benefit. So this is basically a structure. Now we have a template that we can use for a course page, show the community, show the certification, testimonials, and so forth, pricing. So basically figure out the structure and then went ahead to design them. Now, as I've mentioned, and I should have showed you this a little bit before, we were working on this from a component perspective, right? So each one of the things, each section was basically a component. And as you can see, for example, this is the promo bar, right? So has variation, whether you need a countdown timer or you don't need a countdown timer. Whether we have a navigation that's for a normal page where you have, the navigation for all of the different pages, but we also have a special navigation for the course pages where you can just, because the course page is basically a sales page and you want to keep people on that page, you don't want to send them to different pages. So there's a different navigation with inner navigation versus the normal website navigation. So as you can see, everything here is basically built as a Figma component. And then later on, when you're on this page, for example, you can see that, here in this navigation, we're using this component, and this component has, this is the default nav, and we can change it to the course nav if we need it, or to the default one, or whether we need to have the drop down. Anyway, everything here is managed from the components. Let's see what else we have here. So we've got the drop down menus. We've got all of the different heroes layouts. We've got the course hero layout, headers. So this is where I was going to talk about this a little bit later on, but I think that we took the component approach a little bit too far. So we wanted to make it easy to later on create pages very easily, but we started off with a huge diversity of components that later on we found perhaps a little bit limiting. And I'll show you a little bit later on in the Webflow build how we found the components strategy in general, and more specifically components in Webflow, found it a little bit limiting and decided not to always use components. But as you can see here, basically, this is all of the components that we have on the website, like image on the right side, image on the left side, with buttons, without buttons. There's basically a component for everything here, right? And the way that we were working is, you can see here, we've basically created kind of like a system here where you see this thumbs up. Let me zoom in so you can see it. This basically means ready for development, or this page is ready for development. You can see here, ready for development, ready to take the content. We basically created this system here so that we can sync between the design and the development. Okay, let me see what else I want to tell you about the Figma before we move into the Webflow build. Okay, after we had all of the pages designed, the last thing that we wanted to document was the animations, motion and animation. So basically what we have here, and this is really important because a lot of times, especially if the designer is not the one actually doing the implementation in Webflow, is to have very clear articulation of what do you want. So here you can see all of the different, basically all of the different animation that we wanted to implement, with, first of all, a link to a video that, in this case, Leo created these videos in After Effects just to demonstrate the animation that we want. In this case, staggered animation, and this stays, or kind of like a parallax effect. And here with a very clear documentation of what's going on, right? So that Francesco knows exactly what we want. Okay, so this is an animation that takes 2,100 milliseconds. This is the curve. This is when it starts. So there's really good documentation here for each animation. Okay, so here's what's happening in this section. There's title animation, and there's card translation, with, again, a video that demonstrates exactly how everything needs to go. So this appears first, and then this appears. And with this video, of course, he can move very slowly to really understand what's animating. So this was the documentation for animation, just to make sure that everything is super, super clear. We then use these, or should I say did not use, because I see that they're not really checked here, these checklists for here's what we did so far, here's what we still need to do in terms of animations. Okay, so this was the design stage. Before I'm moving into the Webflow build, I'm going to make a break for a second to drink a little bit, and let me know if you have any questions about the design and branding phase that I covered so far before we diving into the Webflow and the technical build. And in the meanwhile, I'll go through the comments for a little bit. So I see Indra asking, how much time did it take to do the whole exploration and designing process in Figma? I think it took us probably a month, I would say, to land on the final visual direction. As I showed you, there were at least 5 rounds of iteration, trying things. No, this is not the right approach. Let's try something else. So these 5 rounds of iteration maybe less than a month, but just to land on the first visual direction took us like a few weeks. And then a lot of things also got established as we started to design the pages themselves, right? So for example, let me go back into the stream, right? So initially, when we were doing the theoretical brand, we had a lot of these glass effects going on, right? So a lot of these glass and shapes things. Okay, we thought this is going to be prominent, but then you're getting into the course page, right? And okay, so here we've got matte and some UI elements. Now we've got UI floating around. Here we've got these cards. So I'm like, actually, and here we want to show stuff actually from the course itself. So you're getting to the end of the page and you're like, we actually don't have much of these glass elements needed, because maybe they look great in theory, but actually when we're looking at what type of elements we need, they're not as needed, right? So here on this page, we do have this thing here, but more than that, not necessarily. But so we found out we don't really need them too much. But then I was working on this promo page. And this promo page, we did use more when we did these kind of like visualization of each one of the courses. So we did come back to this glassy, vectory effect. So they are using, and we're probably going to explore this visual language more when it comes to marketing and ads and social media. So we will be using this style, but you can see that it's still pretty far from the original kind of like vision. So a lot of it is changing, as you're going. Who gathered references for inspiration? Honestly, it was everybody. I did, Burak did, Lee did. Everybody brought on, and it was kind of like a discussion. Like, yeah. So everybody brought their own references. Would you ever use stylescapes for web design in the initial stage of visual direction? Yeah, I think the stylescapes is very helpful, especially if you are working with clients. But as I showed you in this case, you can have a general direction. Hey, we're going to go with these color palette and we're going to try to make some glass elements. But a lot of it you figure out as you go. It's a lot of experimentation and iteration. I see Fabrice asking, have you A/B tested at this point, meaning before coding? No, we did not. This is really interesting for us right now to see how this website, we do know that this website from a technical perspective loads faster, but just the design direction, we don't know if it's going to convert better or not. This is just like, at the end of the day, I don't think that you can really, when it comes to brand, you can't A/B test. You have to go with what you believe is a good representation of your brand, right? Just got my Webflow Masterclass certification from Kaya Ilyuta. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Congratulations. All right, with that, let me dive into the Webflow build a little bit, and then we can hopefully come back to the questions down the road. Okay, so let me bring back my screen. Okay, so this is the Webflow build. Let me start off with the style guide. So one of the first, where's the style guide? Okay, here it is. One of the first discussions that we had was, do we need to work with something like client first? Should we use their style guide? Or should we use their naming system? And, Francesco's approach was, it's a good starting point. I mean, we can take that as a starting point, but actually we don't need so much of what they have there. So let's clean it up. We don't want to have all of these excess styles and code. So basically what he did is he took the main the main idea and their main structure. He added on top of it his methodology or his approach for spacing and structuring, and mostly cleaned it up. So I think this is, at the end of the day, maybe like a third of what Client First style guide has at the end of the day, but it's enough for us. And of course we have things like these badges, these new labels, and kind of stuff that only we need, right? And the types of buttons that we need, the brand colors. Obviously everything is also here as a variable for us to use. So basically, bottom line here is we chose to go with a simplified client first approach, but very simplified. That's it. That's the whole thing. So that was our starting point as a style guide. Now, I've mentioned originally that we wanted to make everything a component, and that was my initial vision. So again, for example, this is the navbar component, and we also have here from the properties, the component properties, the whole management of this component. So let me show you. For example, we have the layout 1 and layout 2. So layout 1, actually, let's do layout 2. Layout 1 is the normal navigation that we have for homepage and all of the other pages. And if I hide this and I show this, this is the navigation that we have for course page. And course pages also don't have always the same links here. So we can also choose here where this link is linking and whether we want to have link 1 hidden or visible. So from here, I can basically adjust this component specifically for the page that I need. So this is a good example of a component use. And you can see here how many components we have. We have all of these components, and all of these components we've actually broken down, right? So let's see what else we have here. So footer component, these are quite obvious, right? There's nothing really interesting here. The more interesting ones that we had, we actually decided, I think, to break them down. So for example, section heading, eventually managing everything from, like I showed you, from the properties. When you had too many options, like let's go back to the Figma and go back to the components blocks. So in this case, for example, here, hero, we had so many different layouts and so many different options to add a button and customize a button that managing it from the Webflow properties panel, from this panel, became too much of a problem. And then if we needed to make some kind of a change, oh, actually, I don't need 6 icons. I actually need 7 buttons. So now I need to edit the components and add more properties here, and it became untenable. So at the end of the day, the approach that we had is, for some of these things, it makes sense to use a component, right? But a lot of other things, let's just break them down and let's just manage them as kind of like as a layout, right? So for example, if this is a hero section, that's just a hero section. If you want to use it, just copy this section. Just copy this section into the page that you need, right? This one is still a component, and you can see we can replace the image, we can replace the text here. But so this is basically the end result, I would say, is a mixed approach of having some of them as components, some of them just as layouts for you to copy and paste. But basically, we have the library of everything, and we can use them to go ahead and build pages. Now, going into the CMS, right? So the CMS obviously has obvious things like blog posts. Okay, that's pretty obvious. Also have team members. That's also pretty obvious. But where it becomes interesting is in places like this promotion, right? So I've showed you that this website right now on our live website, we have this promotion bar that, if we click, it goes into our promotion page and has all of this data and has this timer, and sometimes needs to be on the website, but sometimes don't need to be on this website, right? So this whole thing, this whole promotion is basically managed from this CMS collection. So right now you can see that we're having the May 2024 new website launch. And from here, basically it's the promotion is managed. When are we going to start this promotion and when are we going to close this promotion? And if I change the date to, in an hour, then starting from an hour, you're not going to see the promotion bar. You're not going to have all of the discounts, right? So this is when is this promotion being applied. Of course, how it looks, the copy on this, the colors of this. Now here we have a lot of, there's so much complexity in here. For example, we can do a promotion that gives a specific course a different discount than the rest of them. For example, right now I think we're in offer number 3, which is all of these courses that we have here have 30% discount. And the way that this is applied is basically it's adding this coupon code at the end of the checkout link so that, when people click the checkout, the coupon code is already being applied. But we can do things like, the Webflow Masterclass has a 100% discount or $100 discount, while other courses have different amount. So there's tons of logic built into this so that Burak can set up a very complex promotion, doesn't need help from any development. He's just editing the CMS, publishes the website, and then that's it. Now, previously, as I've mentioned, we had to publish the website to turn on a promotion and then turn off the promotion to hide all of the different elements, hide all of the discounts. And now this is being updated automatically through here. How is this happening? You ask yourself. Well, there's a lot of code. We'll go through the code in a second. So this is the promotion management, and this is really, really a creative way to manage something fairly complex that we're doing here. The other thing is, of course, the Flux courses. So we have the courses CMS here. Basically, each of them has their own logo, their own thumbnail, their own color. And this, a lot of places like here, this is pulling data from the CMS, right? This is a featured course. And of course, the courses page, they're all gathering information from the CMS, including the, this is the discount of the course right now. So there's a normal price, and then now we have a promotion. So there is a promotion price, and this is also managed again from the CMS. Basically gives you the original price point, and then the promotion is going to calculate the discount of this price. You can see here we have the price here, and then the discount is being calculated off this. And we can trigger all kinds of badges from here, like is this just released? Is this featured in the homepage? Is this hidden from the course list? What is the order of this? So all of these things are managed from the Flux courses collection. What else? We also have free resources. So this is something that I already showed you. We've got the free resources that is also has the FinSuite filtering going on here. And this is being pulled from these free resources CMS here. You basically have this image. Where is this linking for? What is the number? What is the category? This is pretty much straightforward. We also manage our student works from here. So if we share some student work, name of the student, the work, which course he took, image of the student. So all of these things are being managed from the CMS here. Testimonials, of course, just the same. Yeah, what is the testimonials and so forth. What else did I want to show you? Let's talk about the custom code that we have here. So one thing that Francesco did, which is very, very, one thing that we wanted to improve is how we're managing the animations, right? So Webflow has the native animation, which are great because they're very, very easy to create. However, they're good for most, I would say, simple use cases, but there are a few things that we had a problem with. Number one, some of these can be applied with, you can apply an animation through a class, but when you want to create a cascading animation, so what do I mean by cascading? Let me show you. Let's go to whatever, Webflow Masterclass. So you can see as we're scrolling down, this one appears first, and then this, and this, then, and this. So they are timed one after another, right? And we have this every time we have some columns. You can see that they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this, if I wanted to do this, we would have to manually do this. And this, because we have this cascading animation so many times, as you can see, this can really, really be a huge, huge, huge time waster. So we wanted a way to use animation, in generally use and reuse animation very, very fast and efficient. And also, to be fair, Webflow's native animation, the way that it's implemented, uses a lot of code that sometimes slows down performance a little bit. So the way that Francesco implemented this is that basically every time that we have a section, for example, like this section, you can see here from the settings panel, we just add an attribute that says fade in. And this basically means, okay, apply a fade in animation to this. If we have this featured courses, for example, the wrapper of this has an attribute that says staggered animation, and it's just going to stagger them. So any elements that I have a few different animation types that I have, like this staggered animation or just fade in animation. All I have to do to apply an animation is go, hey, here I want this to be staggered animation. I select the wrapper. Let's see where it is. In this case, it's this wrapper. I add custom attribute animation equals staggered, and now this whole thing is just going to have staggered animation. So that's how I apply them, but how do I manage them? How do I do that? Well, we have this, I'm not sure if this is this one, animation module script. So we have this custom code component that we have here. We have this applied on all pages. And basically we have here the different, so you see here we have the different animations. So for example, staggered animation, and here are all of the custom attributes, right? So how fast do you want this to happen? What's the delay between each one? I don't know if it's, well, I think that's might be just behind my photo. So let me move my photos. Okay, let's put my photo over here. Okay, so you can see all of the properties here. If I want to adjust or customize the animation, all I have to do is make changes here. I don't have to go into the code. I don't want to touch code, but here's the code to do this animation. And the code basically pulls in the animation parameters from these custom attributes. So I personally don't ever have to touch the code. If I want to change how the animation looks like, all I do is change the numbers from these custom attributes. So this makes it very, very easy. Now, this custom, let's see where it is. Okay, so this custom animation component, you can see that it has properties. What does it mean? If in this case, for example, in this page, I don't need a hero animation visibility, I'm just setting it to hidden. And that means that it's not going to load here all of the code that's not necessary on the page. So this is a way for Francesco to not load code that we're not using on a specific page, right? So that we can only use the code for the animation that we need. And again, this improves performance and how fast the website loads. So I think this is a really, really clever way to choose what code you're going to load and how you're going to customize the code in a very no-code way, right? For me now, or for Burak, our marketing manager, to manage the animation and build new pages, you don't have to code. You can just trigger here what you need, make adjustments, apply very easily custom attribute, and you've got the animation sorted out. What else we have here? Of course, we have the code to manage the promotion. So basically what this code does is that it checks into the CMS data and asks, is there a promotion running on? Should we display the promotional bar? Should we change the prices? And if the date is exactly what the date is right now, meaning we should have a promotion right now, then it applies all the discounts, unhides all the stuff, adds the discount code, and so forth. So this is the code that manages this. What else do we have here? Let me show you another kind of like, again, clever way of using the components. So for example, in the promo page, where is the promo page? Promo page. So this promo page has this video that autoplays on the page. All we need to do, we're hosting the videos on Vimeo, so all I need to do to change, and this is, we have a custom player, right? I don't know if you have seen this, but we're using a custom player that can autoplay, that can work on mobile. So we're not using the native video player. We can customize the size of this. We have a lot of options for how we present the video. So Francesco wrote basically a custom video player, and it's loading up the right video from here. So again, need to change the video. All you do is paste a new video code here. Very easy to set up. I think that's mostly all I wanted to share with you. But now let me open up the questions, and let me know if you have any Webflow or development or in general questions that you would like me to tackle, and we can try and do some of those. How were the badges designed? Well, I basically showed you I think the process for designing them. I see Simi or Chimi asking whether the animations are GSAP. So actually, I think Francesco told me that we're not using GSAP. It's basically just straight up JavaScript. I don't know his reason for choosing this versus GSAP, but it works fine and it loads fast. Did Francesco do the whole development? This site is huge. Yeah. So Francesco did the whole project. As I've mentioned, we had Matteo, his brother, helped with a lot of the asset migration, meaning Francesco built the components, and then Matteo went to the Figma file, exported all the assets, did the compression, uploaded them created a new page, used the components that Francesco already did. So again, it was the work was split between Francesco developing the components, Matteo using the components to build the pages. I sometimes had to go there and make fine tweaks to, spacing and things that, I cared about. But yeah, Francesco did the heavy lifting. And again, this was a 9-month project. There was a lot of time, a lot of revisions going into this. Yeah. A lot of development energy went into this. Can you please share the Figma link to the website too? I don't know. I'm going to have to think about this. I don't know if we have stuff there that's a little bit sensitive. If it's going to be possible, I'll share it. If not, we'll see. I noticed the responsive design devices on the top. Can you show us how to adjust the existing design frames into each device? Well, basically, you know, the website obviously is responsive and took a lot of work to also review everything on mobile breakpoint. One of the challenges that we had, there's few things that I didn't mention that are actually worth sharing. So one thing is on the courses pages, we have this structure, right? We have the instructor, that we have some UI elements in the background. But sometimes we have this, and we have this sticky navigation, right? Now, sometimes we only have the navigation. Sometimes we also have this top promotion bar. Now, the problem is that because both of them are fixed at the top, and so that means that they're coming on top of what's basically behind them, this. So this basically means that if we're adding a new promotion bar or something like this, it basically goes on top of the image, something like this, and the head of the instructor gets cropped, which was a problem. So basically, Francesco had to write into the promotion code, basically meaning, hey, you know, when we're adding this new bar, you want to push the hero content even down, more down the page, so that it's not being cropped. And in general, we had a lot of work to do in terms of trying to make sure that no matter the breakpoint, the face of the instructor is not going to be cropped either from the top or from text going on top of it, because, you know, sometimes if the screen is smaller, then you get some weird crops. So our end result for this is just to basically separate the instructor from the background so that they can scale independently, and basically hopefully get the best responsive situations. So we had a lot of revisions, iterations, and going back and forth to solve the responsiveness issues of the course pages. Muhammad, hey Ron, I took your Webflow masterclass. I'm finally feeling confident to create a site and submit it to the filing project. Am I still eligible for the Flux Academy certificate? Talk to Kaya and our support team, and we'll help you with that. What else do we have? What would you recommend to optimize the site and make it work very smooth and responsive? Is there an app that automates this process? No. You know, making performance is a performance is a huge topic, and it's basically a collaboration between the design. You know, you need to export the assets, you need to compress the assets. The developer, is there custom code? What loads up fast? Maybe you want to load up the things at the top first and the things at the bottom. Maybe you want to start prefetching the pages, the other pages. So for example, when you're going to click this, you're going to move very fast into the new page because we're doing a prefetching, meaning after we loaded this page, we're also starting to load the pages that you're likely to load next. So there's a lot of things that go into that. We have some videos on this topic, but it's a very big topic. How many team members worked on this project? So I showed this before, but I'll show this slide again. This is everybody that worked on this project. There are a lot of people involved. Yeah, I managed the project and was, we can say, art director, but Lee was the main designer, Francesco the main developer, but a lot of people were involved. As I've mentioned, a lot of asset creation, a lot of pages, there's a lot of copy here, so there's a lot of people who touched and helped. But the three at the top had the biggest contribution. Hey Lee, I can see you in the chat. So yeah, Lee did like phenomenal work here. Yeah, obviously we couldn't make this without him. What else? What else? This project was very large. During the development stage, how did you keep things organized? It's such a large project. So we had, let me show you here. We had this documentation. We had initially we had kind of like the stages of the project. What do we need to do? We need to develop this. We need to develop this. Now you're only seeing actually what's not done. But if you look at this, so these were all of the tasks, right? Hey, build this page first, design this page, then build this page, right? Each task had first design or write a brief, then design, then build, right? So first Burak needed to write a brief. What do we need in this page, right? What to pay attention in the design and development. Then we had design, then build, then doing a setup, then doing QA. So there were so many stages here. Notes on each. So this is how we started to manage this. Eventually, this got out of control, and then we moved this to. Eventually, this became kind of like, here's what we have to do before launch. Here's the key things, because it really got out of hand. And honestly, we didn't even get to finish everything that we wanted, right? So all of this future task wish list, there are things that we wanted to do or we might not be super happy with, but at the end of the day, it was, here's, I don't know when we wrote this, but we thought that by February 9th, QA is going to be done, right? Everything's ready in January. So we thought this is going to be over a while ago. Like originally, wait, where am I? I want to move the camera back here. Originally, we thought this is going to be done for October, then maybe Black Friday, then January, then February, then April, and now we're in May. So it was a lot of things that we haven't predicted. Also, how much complex they're going to be. As I've mentioned, the component approach was something that we worked a lot towards, and then we had to take a few steps backward because after implementing it, we thought, okay, this is not really making our life easier. We thought it's going to make our life easier, but now it's actually making our lives difficult. So we had to backtrack. And you can imagine, Francesco did so much work here, and then we told him, you know what, we need to get rid of that and start from scratch because this is not manageable. So I don't think there's been anyone working on this project that has been not been very frustrated at points. Again, this was very large, and a lot of things happened that we didn't anticipate at the beginning. So everybody got a little frustrated at times, but I guess this is how, you read about all of these big projects where the government thought this is going to cost $1 million and it take a year, and now it's been 5 years and it's cost $5 billion. Why they suck at project management? So, this is a complex project, but for a relatively small company. And you can imagine how these projects become very complex and very complicated when big companies do them and a lot of people collaborating on them. I've mentioned, I don't know, I think in the email, before we took on this project internally, we reached out to some really amazing agencies and we got proposal for around $50,000 to do this website. And we were like, you know what, that's a lot of money, and let's try to do this in-house. And I think, if we look at the time that our team spent on this and how much we paid them over the last 9 months, I'm pretty sure that we crossed the $50,000 for sure on this project. And again, this is just a complex project. A lot of things happen, but I also think that the more people involved, the more complexity grows, right? When you are both the designer and the developer and you know exactly what you want and you go there and implement it, sometimes things are simpler. So if you are a full stack designer, for me, again, I used to design and develop myself. So for me, sometimes it's frustrating not to be able to do the whole process myself. But when you're working with a team, obviously you can do things. I wouldn't be able to do this on my own, obviously, right? I honestly, I think Lee is a better designer than me. I think Francesco is a better developer than me. So I wouldn't be able to do it on my own. But when you're working with a team, you can do things that you can't do on your own, but there's cost to it. And the cost is communication, time, complexity, cost, all of these things. Yeah, definitely an eye-opening experience. But yeah, but I'm very, very happy about this, and I'm very, very proud of what we've been able to do. All right, Coda versus Notion. I heard Ran that state that Coda is a personal preference. Are there any other reasons to prefer Coda over Notion? Off topic, but you know what? It's very random. And I've started using Coda. I think that originally, because they were competing with Notion, they were free and I used them. And then at some point, I just had too many docs there to leave, and the whole company runs on them. I remember that initially I was frustrated with Notion that it was slow. I don't know if they've solved it since, but I was already in Coda and too much invested. If I need to migrate, we've got like over 100 docs or 200 or 300 docs. It would be very difficult for us to move. So it's not that much of a preference, as in we're just stuck there and we're just not going to. I can say something not to. If you're offended easily, maybe you should mute now. But I worked with a friend once told me, a friend who worked at InVision. I don't know if you know InVision, but he told me that their B2B strategy is called the umbrella strategy. And that is because when InVision works with an enterprise company, basically what they do is they shove an umbrella up their ass and then they open it, and there's no way they're going to take it out ever because it's too painful. So it might be disgusting, but I feel like Coda has definitely went the umbrella approach on us, and it's going to be too painful to ever take it out. I'm happy with it, but I'm not going to even try to ever take it out so far. So that's it. Where did you find these amazing designers and developers? That is a good question, but we are, after all, a design and development community, so there are great people there. Okay. I think with that we can wrap up. I think that it's going to be very difficult to top the umbrella strategy. After you've learned that, there's not much I can teach you anymore. Thank you so much for tuning in. I said we're closing in on 90 minutes so far. Appreciate you staying for this and watching and being part of the design community. Thanks again for everybody who's been a part of this project and contributing and making it happen. I feel like it's a big new phase in the Flux Academy journey. So thank you everybody for making this happen. Go to our website, click the promo, buy our courses, and I will see you in office hours. I'll see you in the next video. I'll see you. Thank you. Bye.